How you doing, friends? I am Joe Craig. Welcome to the Joe Craig Show, where we keep it real and report the truth. As we say this every week, we've added a new caveat: keeping it real from my and our point of view. Today's topic is whether books or laptops is a better alternative to teach kids in the classroom. I think a combination of both. But let me go back to the beginning. I grew up with books. We had a book for every class, and that book was probably about 200 pages: English, math, social studies, science, English, reading, whatever. We lugged them books around. And then as I progressed and got my associate's degree, bachelor's degree, master's degree, we had books. Now, toward the latter end, we did use computers for research, but the primary source that we used was books. And that's why I can read well, in my opinion. I speed read, I can write well, I can formulate opinions because I was taught the old school way. Now, today, in this education system that we have in the United States and across the world, many people, schools, have their kids on laptops from the time they get there in the morning to the time they leave at the end of the day. And I think it's flipped. I do see some paperwork or paper assignments in classrooms over the years after I left. I early retired in 2019. But my point is simply this: it's flipped because the paper should be the primary book resources, and the computer, in my opinion, should supplement what the book is saying. Because I was a project based teacher, and yeah, I passed out the papers, books, everything, and then we put it all together, did our research on the computer. But it's different. But there are other countries, Sweden, of course, Finland. I've been on their stuff for a minute, and I'm sorry, but they are doing it better than us. So, without further ado, and me be quiet, let's listen. Let's just check it out.
In one Finnish town. As they head back to school, they are carrying with them backpacks full of books instead of laptops and other devices. Finland's public education system has gained global renown for its embrace of technology. But Finnish parents and teachers have become increasingly concerned over the impact of screens on children.
Most students, I think, just did the exercises as quick as they could so they could then move on to playing games and chatting on social media. But many students were using the laptops for games and things like that. So a lot of distractions.
I find that I can concentrate much better, and doing homework it's easier because I don't have to I don't need a device for it. And writing, it can be a bit tiring, but I learn easier.
Across Finland, children's learning results have been slowly eroding in recent years, prompting the government to plan new legislation to ban the use of personal devices during school hours. About 2 hours from now, U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris and former
We're not going to get into politics, but I like what the guy said, the little young man said. Basically, he doesn't have to plug in his laptop. He doesn't have to do anything with a screen. He get to go from page to page and then go back to page. To me, that's helping him utilize his critical thinking skills. That's helping him learn a process, a start and a beginning, pen and paper, pencil and paper. That's just what I think. And now let's move on, because over in Sweden, they doing the same thing. Check it out.
Stad School in the southern Swedish town of Sjöbo. First thing as the school day begins, pupils turn in their phones. In Sweden, many fourth graders have smartphones, so Madeleine Sevidsson collects them every morning. The first class of the day is math, and today the teacher has a surprise.
Hey, you're getting your first real math book. Cool, no? I wanted to give it to you now, so you can take your time looking at it. Go ahead and browse through. It's brand new.
These are the first printed books the children have been given after nearly 4 years in this class. Until now, they have worked almost entirely with laptops and math. It doesn't take long before they begin noticing differences.
There are more descriptions than on the laptop. What might be harder is that now we have to read ourselves. Before, the computer read the exercises aloud for us.
It's better with the books, because the computer always freezes. But I have trouble writing, so it'll be harder for me because now I have to write everything by hand.
Turning real pages again. In Sweden, many classrooms are slowly embarking on this reversed course. For years, even primary school pupils were taught almost exclusively digitally. Just 5 years ago, the Education Ministry issued national guidelines recommending digital teaching aids like laptops or apps, rather than books. Juanette Wielberg is the second teacher today. She's also noticed the negative effects of purely digital lessons.
The children read more slowly. They have a smaller vocabulary and understand less of what they read. We think it's because we have taught too much with digital means.
I'm going to jump in. You are exactly right. I see kids that can't write, and it's horrible. You know why? It's partly not their fault because they don't have to write. All they have to do is point and click on the computer. That's all they got to do. So I'm saying, let's switch it around. Now, let's move back to Finland. Here's another excellent example how the laptop is being used. Now, let me set this up. These are 10-year-olds. They can speak Spanish, English, and their native language well. And in my opinion, keeping it real, from my vantage point, we have a lot of American kids that can't even navigate the English language. Now, these kids are speaking Spanish, as I said. They're talking about discerning themselves between what is fake news and what are facts. And they are using the laptops to make this point, and we call it doing research and analysis-based learning. Let's check it out.
Era of disinformation almost everywhere, a question. When it comes to identifying scams, hoaxes, and fake news, are you smarter than a fourth grader? The answer might surprise you, as Chris Livesay discovered.
To say that Finland values education is an understatement. No, that's not Finnish they're speaking. Class at a public elementary school in the capital, Helsinki. And yet their language proficiency is not the only thing that makes these fourth grade Finns so remarkable. At just 10 years old, they're already learning to separate fact.
Can you figure out which is the fake news?
From fiction. Today's assignment, let's find out if an alien really did land on Earth in the past decade.
2013.
Yep, they also speak English.
I don't think that there has been ever somebody who's seen an alien, so like it's already fake because it says that it was 10 years ago in 2013 and still nobody has seen aliens ever.
So you're saying that if this happened 10 years ago, you probably would have heard about an alien.
Yes.
These kids are already pros. They've been at it since they were 6, and they'll keep sharpening their ability to spot hoaxes, avoid scams, and debunk propaganda throughout their education, just like every child in Finland. Lee Anderson is the former education minister.
I think it should be seen as a civic skill in the current society that we live in, because we all live in an information society nowadays, or it's called an information society, right? But actually, some of the information is mis or disinformation.
Yeah, I like that. They should have civics. And really, when I was first starting out in high school, for me attending high school, we had a civics class. And then we turned it into home ec and some other things, life skills. But you know what, today, folks, I am happy what we talked about. We talked about having books, bringing books back to the classroom. I was telling somebody just a little while ago that, you know what, I see a lot of kids with backpacks and I don't see nothing in them but air when they come home. There should be some writing, some lessons associated with book learning. Now, I'm not saying that laptops are not great in the classroom, but I just think that they should not be the primary source of learning. They should be just to add to what you're trying to do, because the books help you think, they help you write. You can go back to that page, you can keep going back, and also a thought just came to my head. It increases your independent learning for your child, because they ain't got to be going to a screen and asking you anything. They can read or learn to read. Then we talked about how Sweden is also doing that. It's amazing that all these European countries, and I imagine there are some private schools in America that's doing it too, but in public schools, it's laptop, more laptop. And then the paperwork assignments come second, but the kids don't know what to do because they so busy on their laptops all day. Go figure. Then we finish it up with fact versus fiction. 10-year-olds back to Finland again, speaking Spanish fluently, English fluently. Hell, we can't even get some of our kids in America who born here to speak good English. So that's what we talked about today, folks. I hope this helped you process. Get rid of that laptop. Get them kids some books and paper and let them figure it out with the assignments. I'm Joe Craig. You can check me out on YouTube at Reeling and Telling Our Truth, or on Facebook at Reeling and Telling Our Truth. You can email me at thejoecraigshow@gmail.com. Be blessed, less stress. I'll see you soon. Out.